Hi, fifth graders. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week and looking forward to the weekend. So for the past 2 days, you've been working with Ms. Carter on equivalent fractions. So you've been working on multiplying and dividing to find fractions that are equivalent with different numerators and denominators, but the same value. So we're going to continue that and we're going to do part 3. So today we're going to kind of mash all that together and use what we've been learning and start doing it in simple word problems. If it's a little difficult, that's okay. We're going to keep practicing so that we can get better. So what is an equivalent fraction? Hopefully this is review and you already know it, but it's when fractions with different numerators and denominators that represent the same value of the whole. So we notice with our pieces that the numbers are different on the top, which is the numerator, and different on the bottom, which is the denominator, yet they have the same value when you look at the pictures. So even though this is 1/2 and this is 4/8, we see that both of them is the same amount of pizza, right? So that's what equivalent fractions are, and so we've been just working on finding those equivalent fractions. And how do we make them? Multiplying or dividing. We talked about that. So either you can multiply to figure out is it the same, or you can divide to see is it the same, okay? So if we're looking at these 3, they multiplied and they divide, and they found, they divided mostly for this one, and they found that these are all the same, but we will also practice with multiplying, okay? So let's get started, and let's not forget to use our strategy RDW. We've been using that for the past few weeks, and so we're going to continue just to help us out. So Charlie ate 2/3 of his pepperoni pizza. Laura ate 6/9 of her sausage pizza. Did the children eat an equal amount of pizza? If yes, explain what factor or divisor you used to make sure they were equivalent, and use pictures to support your answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and start circling what is important and trying to figure out what the word problem is trying to ask us. So we know that Charlie ate 2/3 of his pizza. Important. Laura ate 6/9 of her sausage pizza. Also important. And we're trying to figure out if the children ate an equal amount of pizza. Okay. So I already have down here bars that represent like the pizza. And this is the 3 sections. So we need a color in 2/3. So I'm going to pick a different color here. So this would be the 1/3. And that's the 2/3. Okay. And then Laura ate 6/9. So I already have the sections into 9. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I need to shade in 6/9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the question is asking us, did the children eat an equal amount of pizza? Looking at our pictures, yes, they ate the same amount. So although these numbers are different, the value is the same. So now we need to explain what factor or divisor we used to make sure they were equivalent. So if we're starting with 2/3, I'm going to change back to black. So we're starting with 2/3. And I'm thinking in my head, how or what did I do to 2/3? What did I do to the top number and the bottom number? Because remember, whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom to make sure it's the same. To get 6/9, okay? To get 6/9. Did I divide? Did I multiply? So I see that my numbers are bigger, so I'm assuming that I multiplied. And 2 times 3 equals 6. And so whatever I do to the bottom, to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So I also multiply that by 3. So 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 times 3 equals 9. And so explain what factor or divisor you use to make sure they were equivalent. I used the factor 3 to make sure 2/3 and 6/9 were equivalent, okay? Alrighty, let's go to our next one. Okay, so this is not what we need. So a recipe for cookies calls for 6/8 cups of chocolate chips. So find two fractions that are equivalent to 6/8 using the divisor and the factor 2. All right, so we're going to first start with 6/8. And we're going to use the factor 2. When it's a factor, we know that we are multiplying. And then with the 6/8, we have to use the divisor. And when it's the divisor, no, we are dividing. Okay, so 6/8 times 2, what we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. So 6 times 2 equals 12. And 8 times 2 equals 16. So she could also use 12/16, and that's equivalent to 6/8 using the factor 2. So now let's use the divisor 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So she can also use 3/4 cups. And we know that 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4 by using the divisor 2, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a picture to represent the two equivalent fractions that we just made. So the first one was 12/16. So I already have 16 right here. I'm going to count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, we are good to go. And so it was 12/16. So I'm going to color in 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then the other one was 3/4. So let's do the 3/4. 1, 2, 3/4. And then what we could also do is create one that was 6/8 just to make sure that that is the same. So I'm going to create one more that is 6/8. Okay. And I'm going to bring it down here. Make sure it's the exact same. And so if I color in 6/8, it should be the exact same as this. So let's try it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got it. So if we go back, we can say that 3/4 is equal to 6/8, which is equal to 12/16. All right. So now you are going to complete your exit ticket on Canvas. It's very similar to the two problems that we just completed. And if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.